In the late 90s, the handheld scene was pretty much locked down by Nintendo. Here in the West, most people have never even heard of the NeoGeo Pocket system, and while Game Boy was the most popular go-to for many handheld gamers of that era, those who slipped outside of the mainstream found a real treat in the short-lived SNK system, the NeoGeo Pocket Color. The NGPC game we'll be looking at today is a neat little action RPG called Dark Arms Beast Buster. Released in 1999, this game is one of two follow-ups to the SNK arcade shooter Beast Busters. Now, I had to do a bit of digging to find out who worked on this game and pretty much just came up with the now defunct Japanese dev company Noise Factory, who is a bit more known for fighting games, beat-em-ups, and working on a few Metal Slug titles. This game, however, strays quite a bit from their norm as it mashes a nice mix of top-down action RPG gameplay with monster soul collecting. In Dark Arms, you are a Beast Buster who has entered the spirit world after forging a contract with the people of the Dark Realm. The game begins in the house of an entity called the Master. The Master is basically your mentor in this game, and it is he who helps you achieve your goal. At the beginning of the game, the Master gives you a weapon called the Catcher, which, as the name implies, allows you to capture monsters. The gameplay in Dark Arms is very typical of a top-down action RPG. You basically explore dungeons and kill monsters. Puzzles are virtually non-existent, however, with much more emphasis being put on collecting seeds and ohms. By joining seeds and ohms together, you can create new weapons, and you can strengthen these weapons by feeding them the souls of the monsters you capture. I won't go super deep into the mechanics and just say that the game offers much customization in this regard, as you can evolve your basic weapons into a total of 31 different super weapons. So, just know that this is where the game's depth lies, and it holds up. The game has a day and night cycle which is very reminiscent of what is seen in Wario Land 3. The monsters you encounter differ depending on what time of day it is, and likewise, some of the NPCs in the game will also only appear at certain times of the day. The game is short, consisting of just 6 dungeons that you are required to complete to finish the game. After reaching the game's official ending, there's one extra optional dungeon you can take on, but the game can be beaten in less than 5 hours or so. The game does have a little extra juice to be squeezed out upon completion, as you can scour through all the levels to collect all of the monsters, if that's what you're into, but the game offers no initiative to do so. As a consequence of the game's short length, the game's storyline is severely flawed. While there is a discernible plot to this game which involves creating the ultimate weapon and returning a girl named Joyce to the human world, it's so thin and confusing that I just eventually left it as an afterthought. This is unfortunate because the dark gothic feel to this game did appeal to me, and Dark Arms feels like it could have had an excellent plot if the writers had put just a bit more effort into it. The controls to this game are great. The design of the NGPC's D-pad is very responsive, and your character is easy to maneuver in all 8 directions. But I feel like that's more of a compliment to the system and not to the game. Overall, Dark Arms is a competent action RPG for the NeoGeo Pocket Color. Although a bit short, it's worth checking out, I think. As for the story, I suggest you just ignore it, as there's very little going on there. This game's strength lies in its weapon building and monster collecting systems, so I would say just enjoy those for what they are. If you're into neat, off-the-beaten-path games played on unpopular hardware, go pick this one up. Just don't go in thinking you're going to be playing Dawn of Sorrow just because I mentioned monster soul collecting and soul weapon fusion, and you probably won't be disappointed.